So this is a quick overview of the additions of buildings, trees, just more items to the sim just to make it more realistic. And this is the prison reform maze. So as you can see, I'm at the very edge of the sim where this is basically the part that it will take quite a while for the game player to get to. I've added a very old church in here. You have the wall, which will eventually be a cemetery. You have an old house, so it's very spooky, very abandoned. So this is the old broken down house, the old abandoned church. Inside the church is, you can look right at the tree, the library in there. Some, of course, things maybe moved around a little bit more. You've got the old abandoned barn. And over here is the prison watchtower. So this area is going to be kind of an open ending area, which will give more clues and information guiding the player towards the end of the game. So there's still quite a few development in here. Now, of course, you see that pool area over there, so that's not part of the sim. But on this side, again, I'm looking at this backwards. Of course, this area, that small area there, has not yet been developed. But just to add more into it, we've added these buildings, and of course, I have to change some of the directions just to make it more even. And what this does is when you're looking down, of course, there'll be things. This will be where some of the educational content may be. But landing, you have added for landscaping and tried to space them out so it's not too crowded. And you've got your landing area over here. So when you're landing and you look and you're walking, you've got this added fence area. So it just gives it more realism and things that you might actually see in a real environment. You've got your light pole there that was there before, and you're looking down what basically appears to be a street. And you'll find things that you would expect to, like of course you've got the jail, and then you've got the fire department, and you've got a little barber shop, you've got a storefront, you've got the gunsmith. So you can see it's kind of a mix of Western buildings because those are open source. And you've got some buildings I collected on the German shim, old shops there. I really tried to go with an older look. So when I did collect, like, I'll show you one building I collected, and I did change quite a bit. It's the old red shop. Now some things you can collect, but you can't edit. So like this one, red shop, if you click on it, you can copy, and this one you can modify, but this one over here, you're allowed to copy, but it had already been modified. So I had a sign here from another sim, because I collected this from an actual someone else's sim rather than going directly to the Linda Kelly. So I would really recommend, if you're going to collect buildings, try to get them from the actual Linda Kelly sims or downloads, because you'll have modify permissions. This one I didn't, and just to save time, rather than going finding it, I just put another sign over the sign that was there. But if I was going to actually include this in a downloadable sim, I'd want to go right back to Linda Kelly shops and either replace it with a different one, or find this shop if I wanted to use it and download it directly from her, rather than from someone who had already modified it. And once you modify it, say if you collect a building and modify it, you can make it non-modifiable by other people. Now the good thing about modifying is, by example, this building down here was very different. This one was a very light, bright colored building. It actually, I didn't get this side block right here. That was the original color. And so in addition to changing the color, and how I did that was edit link, and I had to be careful to select face, because the reason I wanted to select face is I didn't want to modify the inside color. Then you go to texture, change the color, and I also changed the bumpiness. I wanted to give it more texture. Did the bumpiness to bricks, and that way it changed this building and the looks of it. Now the reason that I wanted to make sure to select face is because if you go inside here, you'll see that the inside is a very different texture. And if I did not select face, then both sides of the wall would be the same brown brick, and I didn't want that. So that's how I modified this building to suit my preferences of how it looked. And that's mercantile. So you've got the Undertaker. I'll end up putting doors in here. So a lot of the free doors are still over in my classroom section. You can see the doors over there. So I have them in inventory. So I'll end up still adding the doors to these. That one needs a door and that one needs a door. These buildings I modified because they had doors, but the doors were closed. So how I did that is, and this one I'm going to leave closed, but all I did was click on them, edit, and then I clicked on edit link. This mouse. This mouse doesn't work properly. Okay. Get rid of this mouse problem. So in edit linked, you see that just this door is selected. That's because these doors is connected. It's not a scripted door. So you see what I did is this was one big solid wall and you couldn't go in these buildings. Is I edited the links in these doors and I rotated them so that they would be open so that you could actually go into the buildings. And then I added the steps so that you could step up easily. And now that they're open a bit, you can actually walk in them. You can't open and close the doors, but you can walk in. And now the building itself is usable. Yep, and I need to re-edit that because I just need to raise it up again. So these doors I added, so you can actually open them and go inside. This is the barber shop with the barber. And if I can get some dental equipment or some dental signage, she will be the barber / dentist. Now in this one, I also added the smooth rotation script through edit linking so that this actually spins like a real barber shop. So when you click on it, as you can see, it's all one item. You can't see it, but if you go to edit linked, I added a script inside this object, and it was the animation smooth script, which caused this to go around like a barbershop. Got this beautiful tree, created the garden, and the other trees. So that was some things that I've added to the whole sim to make it more complete. Again, it's still a work in progress. And some things that are collected that cannot be transferred, cannot be copied, won't end up in the final product. They're just here for display purposes at this point. I also will be going through all of the permissions and making sure that everything in the final product has the proper permissions, so things will continue to develop and continue to change.